She sat on the cold pavement, her trembling fingers clutching a cardboard sign that read, "Hungry. Please help." The once graceful woman, who used to walk confidently in her high heels, who once had a home filled with laughter, was now a shadow of herself. Her clothes were torn, her hair messy, her eyes swollen from nights of silent tears. People walked past her as if she were invisible. But that morning, as the wind whipped against her face and her stomach ached from hunger, a black car slowed down near the curb. The tinted window rolled down, and her heart nearly stopped. She never imagined that the man inside, someone from her past, someone she thought she'd never see again, would be the one looking back at her. And what happened next? That would change her life forever. If the story touched your heart, show your love, like, share, and comment your thoughts. Rebecca Miller was 32, a woman who had once believed in the fairy tale of love. She had married her college sweetheart, Daniel Turner, a man who promised her the world. For the first few years, life had been sweet. Dinners in cozy restaurants, vacations by the beach, and the quiet joy of building a home together. Rebecca gave up her dreams of becoming a writer to support Daniel's career in finance. She believed in him, in their future, in them. But love stories don't always end the way they begin. Over time, Daniel's ambition grew sharper, colder. He spent less time with Rebecca, more time at the office, and when he was home, his words carried more irritation than affection. Then came the whispers, rumors about another woman. Rebecca confronted him one stormy evening, her voice shaking, and Daniel's response shattered her world. "I don't love you anymore. Let's not waste each other's time." The divorce was brutal. Daniel's expensive lawyers left Rebecca with almost nothing. No house, no savings, no safety net. Friends who once dined with her stopped calling, afraid to pick sides. Her parents had passed years earlier, leaving her without family to lean on. At first, Rebecca tried to rebuild. She worked odd jobs, cleaned houses, even wrote articles online. But the city was unforgiving, and every day her savings trickled away. When her landlord finally locked her out for unpaid rent, she stood on the street with one small bag and nowhere to go. Nights became the hardest. She learned which benches were safest to sleep on, which shelters gave out food, and how to layer newspapers under her coat for warmth. Shame clawed at her, especially when she caught her reflection in shop windows. Was this really her life now? One morning, after 2 days without food, Rebecca swallowed her pride. She found an old marker, wrote a desperate plea on a piece of cardboard, and sat by the busiest corner of downtown. "Hungry. Please help." People passed by with eyes averted. Some dropped coins without looking at her face. Others muttered cruel things under their breath. "Get a job. Lazy. Disgusting." Each word pierced her like a dagger, but she stayed, because hunger was louder than pride. Hours passed, her throat dry, her body weak. Just when she thought she might faint, she heard a familiar voice. "Rebecca." Her head snapped up. Standing in front of her was Claire Johnson, her best friend from college, the girl who once shared dorm rooms and late-night secrets. But Claire's life had turned out differently. She was dressed in a tailored coat, her hair perfectly styled, a sleek purse hanging from her arm. Rebecca's lips trembled. "Claire." For a moment, Claire's expression softened, but then something shifted. She glanced around, as if embarrassed to be seen with Rebecca. "I'm sorry to see you like this," Claire said quickly, her tone polite but distant. She pulled out a $10 bill and placed it in Rebecca's cup. "Take care of yourself, okay?" And just like that, she was gone. Rebecca's chest tightened. Even friendship had turned into pity. She whispered to herself, "How did I fall this far?" It was the next morning when everything changed. Rebecca sat shivering, holding her sign, when a sleek black car slowed down near her corner. The tinted window rolled down, and her breath caught in her throat. Inside was Michael Hayes. Michael was not a stranger. Years ago, before Daniel, Rebecca had known him. He was a quiet, thoughtful man in their college circle, always carrying a notebook, always sketching ideas for his dream of starting a business. Rebecca had admired him. But back then, she was swept up by Daniel's charm and promises. Michael had eventually drifted away, chasing opportunities abroad. And now here he was, not the struggling dreamer she remembered, but a man in a sharp suit, his presence commanding. His eyes widened in shock when he saw her. "Rebecca?" he said, his voice filled with disbelief. Her throat tightened. Shame washed over her. She wanted to hide, to run, but there was nowhere to go. "Yes," she whispered, barely audible. Michael opened the car door and stepped out, ignoring the curious stares of passers-by. He knelt down in front of her, lowering himself to her level. "What happened?" he asked softly, his voice carrying both pain and urgency. Tears welled in her eyes. "Life fell apart," she admitted. "Divorce. No money. No one left." She looked down at her trembling hands. "Now this is me." Michael's jaw tightened, his eyes glistening. He had once cared deeply for her, though she never noticed. Seeing her like this shattered something inside him. "Rebecca," he said firmly, "get up. You don't belong here." She shook her head, her voice cracking. "I have nowhere to go, Michael. Nowhere." "Yes, you do," he replied, reaching out his hand. "With me." Rebecca froze. The crowd around them blurred. The sounds of the city faded, and all she saw was his hand. Steady, certain, offering her something she thought she'd lost forever. Dignity. With trembling fingers, she placed her hand in his. Michael helped her to her feet, guided her to his car, and for the first time in months, Rebecca sat somewhere warm. She couldn't stop the tears from falling, whispering through sobs, "Why are you helping me? After all these years?" Michael looked at her, his voice steady but emotional. "Because no one deserves to be forgotten. Not you, Rebecca. Not ever." And in that moment, Rebecca realized, sometimes the people who come back into your life are not coincidences. They are second chances wrapped in unexpected forms.